I'm Tracy with MeatRx. We're here today with another success story. I'm with our coach, Emily, who is with MeatRx also. Hi, Emily.
Hi.
So, Emily, thank you so much for coming and sharing your success story with everyone. Can you start out by telling me what your diet was like and what your health conditions were like before going carnivore?
Absolutely. I had a lot of issues. When I was 14, I started experiencing a lot of pain. I was very active, lived on a farm, played soccer. My body hurt. And at 14, you don't quite have the words to describe the pain. You don't know how to say my shoulders are tight or it feels like inflammation. And I just kept complaining of pain. We went to a million doctors before we ended up at rheumatology, and the rheumatologists seemed to help me most, but they helped me by loading me up on medication. One diagnosed lupus, one diagnosed just unspecified or undiagnosed connective tissue disorder. I struggled with bursitis, tendinitis, fibromyalgia, interstitial cystitis. I had a lot. I was just a walking itis. I was just a ball of inflammation. And then I was a ball of medication. And that continued my entire teenage and adult life. And I had to become a lot less active because of the pain. And I lost a lot of muscle in my shoulders and things. And then, fast forward, I'm getting ahead of myself. Anyways, I had a lot of inflammation. And it really affected my life. I was only 15, 16, 17, and simple things like walking a long way or running with the other kids were super hard. I constantly felt like I had a UTI from the interstitial cystitis. I just had to pee all the time, every hour, twice an hour. It just overwhelmed my life, and I spent most days on the couch. And then all the pain kind of leads into a circle of depression, because here I was so young, and I couldn't remember what it was like to run down the street without pain or wake up, without pain. And everybody and all the doctors were telling me everything I can't do. You won't be able to do this like the rest of the kids. You're going to be on this medication forever. And I was just in a lot of pain and a lot of despair because of the pain.
Oh, wow, I bet. Can you tell me like what foods you were eating back then? Was it related to your diet? Could you figure that out?
Well, I didn't have a clue that diet could really affect how I feel to that extent. They just kind of label you with something. They call it a disorder or a disease. They call it permanent. And none of the doctors gave me any diet advice at all or told me that anything could be related to diet. They just added a pill or three. I think when I was about 20, I was on 12 medications, including opioid pain relievers. I was eating pretty standard American diet, but with whole foods. I lived on a farm. We had a garden. We had fresh corn and vegetables and things like that. But we did eat a lot of potatoes, a lot of corn. We ate a lot of red meat. But as I got older, I got more into the junk food, and I remember being constantly fatigued and constantly hungry to the point where I almost sought doctor's intervention because of how tired I was and because of how hungry I was all the time. I just knew that it couldn't be normal. It couldn't be how my body was supposed to function.
Yeah. So then after you went through all that, like this was when you were like 19 or 20, and
Right.
then what was the next step along the way?
Well, the next few years I continued on a standard American diet, but when I was 25 or 26, my dad had found this thing called keto. And I love you, Dad. He would not let it go, wouldn't shut up about it. And for good reason, it has its benefits. But he wouldn't shut up long enough that my then fiance, now husband, and I decided to give it a go. We needed to lose some weight before the wedding. We were feeling really bad, sluggish. So we went keto. My husband, of course, lost all his weight in a couple months. Mine was more gradual. I lost like 40 pounds over almost a year, 8 or 9 months. But to be honest, now my husband felt better and had all the benefits. It's kind of weird, but I never felt better on keto. I still felt really bad, quite honestly. And it was kind of to the point where it was hard for me to walk across the yard. I was so tired. We did have, some other life events going on that contributed probably to my stress level. But I just never got any of the ketogenic benefits from the standard keto diet. Then I got married, still keto, got married. We got pregnant, and I had seen little bits about carnivore on Instagram, kind of in the keto community, and I just was thinking something's got to change. Everybody talks about success with keto, and it's another thing that hasn't done anything for me. I'm never going to get better. But I saw carnivore, and I thought, wow, I love meat, particularly beef, so much, right? But then I wasn't really sold. I wasn't going to give it a go. But the longer I was pregnant, my body just didn't want the veggies anymore. I just wanted to load up on meat. And by the time I had enough meat to satisfy me, I was satiated. I was full. And it was a really quick transition. I mean, almost cold turkey. I just started eating just meat. Well, my husband has never liked a lot of vegetables. He's always just eaten, meat and dairy unless it was forced on him. And so it was just a natural transition. I didn't have, even pregnant, I didn't have any transition problems that people speak of. And it was so quickly that I started feeling better.
Wow. So being pregnant, how far along were you when you started carnivore?
Maybe halfway. Yeah. Probably close to halfway through my pregnancy, maybe a little before.
Oh, okay. And how was your pregnancy after that point? Did you feel really good for the whole pregnancy?
Yeah. So here's what's amazing. I had been in so much pain for so many years. Now, I always was I was pretty active and physical, but I couldn't exercise. It would cause me too much pain. My bursitis would flare up, tendinitis, instantly. I couldn't do it. I was halfway through my pregnancy. I became carnivore, and I immediately started lifting dumbbells, doing squats, spending a lot of time on a stationary bike because it was cold. I was able to immediately begin light to moderate exercise and keep it up through my entire pregnancy. So to someone that was so unwell and so sickly, to be able in the middle of pregnancy to begin, moderate this physical activity and feel really good was just mind blowing, mind blowing.
Yeah, that is. So like, did any of your conditions improve on keto, or did they not really start improving until you went carnivore?
Yeah, I don't think it's like this for everyone, but for me, I didn't have anything improve except for probably my metabolism. I was losing weight. I think my metabolism increased. Um, but my pain was no better whatsoever.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so then after carnivore, how many weeks or months did it take to where your pain started going away?
I would say my general overall feeling better, even with the pain, I think it took the edge off quickly. I mean, within a week. The pain started, and it climbs the hill. It keeps getting better. So I'd say it's just a gradual process, but the healing process for me started within a week, and then it continues to get better. I do still have some tenderness and a little pain sometimes, but it's absolutely nothing compared.
Wow, that's great. So your husband is carnivore also, and has he seen benefits?
Yeah, so his two major health problems before was kind of inflammation around his knees and swelling in his knees and his gut. We could always both eat a lot, but it didn't matter what we ate. He had to be in the bathroom shortly after, and anything could just set him off, it seemed like. But once he removed all the other variables and started, just meat, and it doesn't seem that dairy bothers him, so just animal products, he really just doesn't have that problem anymore. He's not running for the bathroom anymore or waking up in the night. No, like almost no, excuse me, but flatulence, no flatulence. I mean, he just seems to be running like his body was made to run.
Yeah, that's great. So your baby got the benefit of having all that good nutrient dense food while you were pregnant, and has your baby done really well since you had her?
She is so strong. Um, she didn't weigh a lot, but she wasn't underweight. She came at 37 weeks and she was 5 pounds, 2.6 ounces, and completely and totally healthy. She didn't have a single problem. She was strong. She could roll over from her back to her front at a week and a half old.
Wow.
Uh, yeah, it was incredible. She didn't have all that weight, I think, to hold her down. She is gaining weight steadily. She is a happy baby. She sleeps very well. So yeah, I think it had a lot to do with the smooth sailing of my pregnancy and her life so far.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you are a coach on MeetRx. Can you give me an idea of what your coaching strategy is like?
Yeah, I'd love to. So I like to focus on the overall well-being, as well as the other goals you might have. But I think one's mental state and mental well-being and overall well-being is super important. So I put a focus on things like sleep and mental health quite a bit, as well as the food we're taking in and the end goal we're trying to get to. I also like to keep things long-term focused. Short-term goals are great for short-term motivation, but motivation seems to be a temporary thing. You're not always going to be motivated to make the right choice or motivated to exercise. So I like to keep the long-term goals in as far as just having a good life. We can lose that 30 pounds, but what I'd like to do is improve your overall health. I also am kind of discipline focused, not discipline as in reprimanding, but discipline as in showing up and making consistent choices. I think, discipline is the bridge to get to your goal. And I think there's freedom in having good discipline and showing up every day. And I want to build those habits that aren't boring, but actually make your life full of vitality.
That's great. So, you look really beautiful. Your skin is gorgeous, and you just gave birth not long ago, but
yeah,
you look like you're doing great. Was it a quick recovery?
Yes and no. We had a couple issues that were unrelated to anything else. Had a couple failed epidurals, then we had a cesarean section, and then I ended up with a spinal headache. So it was a while, but it was, as far as my incision and everything, I really healed just beautifully. My incision healed in textbook time, if not sooner. I didn't have an overwhelming amount of pain. I was walking and everything was great. I love the skin compliment. I actually also hold an esthetician license in my state in Indiana. So that's something I pride myself on, because that's another vocation of mine.
Awesome. Wow, that's great. So I love your coaching strategy. I mean, the long term, looking at that, and I just love how you shared your heart on that. And I think that if anyone wants to find you, of course, you're on MeetRx as a coach, and they can come and book you as a coach and get all kinds of great information. Thank you so much, Emily, for sharing your story. Is there anything else that you want to say to anyone that might be considering a carnivore diet, or that might be wondering if they should do carnivore during pregnancy, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I will say I didn't have a single hiccup. And if you're having a hard pregnancy or you're just worried about it being safe, I wouldn't worry at all. My blood work was fantastic. My health was fantastic through the whole pregnancy, and my baby was super healthy. I also want to say, for those of you struggling with joint pain, connective tissue pain, I came from a point where I couldn't hardly be touched because my skin hurt so bad, to living a completely normal life and even exercising. And I just want to say it can be you too, because I thought I had tried everything. I had been on medications. Doctors told me it can't be done. And here I am. So try it. And if you need help, schedule a coaching session. I'll be there for you.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you so much, Emily. And I appreciate you sharing your success story and spending the time to let people know about how they can heal. It's very, very beneficial and very helpful to many.
It's been my pleasure, Tracy. You're wonderful to talk to.
Oh, thank you. We'll see you around MeetRx, actually.
All right. Yeah, I should see you guys tonight or tomorrow on the meetings.
Yeah. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.